Hello, this is David White from Sportsman's Emporium, and today I'm going to tie a little fly, just a standard little basic black woolly bugger, to just give people an idea of really what it looks like when you tie a fly and putting all the materials together and making something that a fish could bite. So what I'm doing, I have my vise here that's holding my hook. I already put a little bead on my hook, so this will be a bead head woolly bugger. And then I have my scissors, and I have my thread bobbin, and I have my half hitch knot tool. And the materials I'll be using are black chenille, and this is going to be for the body, black marabou, and that's going to be for the tail, and then the hackle will be a rooster feather in black. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, tying any fly, you have to build your thread base. So I'm going to start that right here, and I'm going to work my thread back a little bit all the way to the hook shank. I'm going to come forward once more and tie that all the way up to the bead, and then I'm going to go back again. And then I'm going to trim my tag end of my thread. So, okay, now for the tail on a woolly bugger, this is a very popular fly, and it'll catch almost any species of fish, and that's why I decided to do it here. You can tie this in a lot of different sizes. This particular one's going to be tied on a hook size 8. It's a 3X long hook. Now when you're making a woolly bugger tail, to size the tail right, to get the proportions right, general rule of thumb is you make your tail about as long as the body of the hook. So I'm going to kind of measure that here, and I'm going to pull this right to here, and that's going to be about the size of my hook shank. So right here is where I'm going to want to tie this in. So I'm going to lay this hackle on top of the hook, give it a thread wrap where I start kind of high, give it 2 wraps, and cinch it down pretty tight, and give it a couple more wraps for good measure, and then I'm going to trim this excess. Now there's a little piece of feather sticking up there, and I'm just going to wrap forward to kind of lock that down in place so it doesn't slide around. A lot of times people put little bright colorful flashings at this step. That's an optional thing, and today we're not going to do. I'm just going to do the original basic woolly bugger. So the next step is going to be to tie our hackle feather in. This is our rooster feather, and I'm going to spread these out and kind of break these feather fibers apart and tie it in from the tip. So I will lay this again on top of the hook, give it a loose wrap, get a few on there, and then cinch it down and start to put more pressure on my thread. And by the way, during the winter here at Sportsman's Emporium, January, February, and March, every Thursday night we have a fly tying session. It's not a paid class, it's more of a free, it's totally free, and it is instruction. We get a group of fly tyers together and we teach. The advanced tyers will teach the young tyers, and we all kind of get together and share ideas, and it's really fun. It's every Thursday night starting at 7 o'clock, and it'll be all through the winter. So if this piques your interest, it's a good place to learn. Now I'm going to put my body, this is the chenille. So I'm going to take a little bit of chenille off the thread here, and I'm going to once again lay it on top, give it a couple loose wraps, and now I'm going to start to put my pressure down. So now that I have all my materials tied in, I'm going to fill this a little bit with thread and kind of wrap everything down to get it tight. On this step, you can, if you're worried about your fly falling apart as fish eat it, you can put a little bit of glue on here and that helps. But now we're going to wrap the body using the chenille, and all we're going to do is just make even wraps with this. Start at the back and work our way up. That's called palmering, as you work your way up. And that's more of a popular term with the hackle, which would be the next step. But what I'm going for is to try to get this body fairly even in size and diameter, And once I get this up to the bead, I'm going to tie it off. Give it a few wraps. 1, 2, 3, and you can do tight wraps on this. Now I'm going to pull this back out of the way and give it a few wraps in front of it. Okay, now my body's tied on. So the last step, well, the last material step, is to palmer this hackle. This is going to act as kind of like a wing casing or legs. A lot of people think the black ones look like Helgramites, and this will come out to kind of look like legs, and underwater it'll look different than it does when it's dry. So I'm going to basically palmer this up and just try to wrap it pretty evenly, going up towards the bead of my hook. And once I get up here, I'll give it a couple wraps right behind the bead. Now I'm going to hold my tag into my feather in my hand and wrap behind it, behind the bead. Now, once I get a few wraps there, I like to take my hands, put them over my bead, and give a few more solid wraps. Now I can take this little tag in here and trim it down to that. Okay, that's pretty much the woolly bugger. The last thing I'm going to do is use a half-hitch tool to tie a knot. And the way you do this is you wrap your thread 2 or 3 times, slip it down over the bead, pull it down, and that actually gets it in a nice half-hitch knot. Normally I would do 2 or 3 of those knots and finish it with a little dab of head cement. For this fly, I'm just going to trim it right here and call the fly done. And there is your black woolly bugger, which will catch bass, trout, bluegill, almost anything that lives in our waters. This fly will work on, and you can tie them like this long with really big hooks, so you can really exaggerate this particular woolly bugger fly. So if this is appealing to you and you're interested in fly tying, there's a lot of great YouTube videos out there with some great instruction. You can also come down to Sportsman's Emporium and learn. I teach it for free during the winter time every Thursday night. Thank you.